Okay, this is a poem I wrote after watching a documentary on E4 about a radical sex educator that goes into a northern school and talks about porn and sex and relationships with these teenagers. And I was horrified at the views expressed by these young men in the classroom about women's bodies, about relationships, and how they really dominated the young girls in those classes. I was further horrified to realize that I was one of those young men. I really saw myself in these idiots. And this is what I'd like to say to my 11-year-old self if I had the chance. Here goes. I remember being 11 and thinking my fantasies were a mental plague malevolent. Thinking my mind was dirty, so when I reached down into my pants yet again, my penis swelled with the pressure of the dirt in my veins. That was an age when I was seriously confused. My body was doing stuff I couldn't refuse, and no teacher wants to tell me about my cock's use. They're scared people will say it's child abuse. Listen to the irony of this educational disorder. You left the elephant standing undisturbed in the corner, and by providing me with your silence and no guidance, I turned to a teacher that was just being born. That's right, double click, it's the new millennium. Internet porn. Now it's 4 years later, and I'm 15 years old. And I've seen more sex than any teacher could have told. But looking back now, that was a lot for a young mind to hold. I'm still a virgin, but I'm starting to feel like sex was old. And I remember sleepovers when I would talk to my boys, a bunch of little sex experts thinking of women as though they were toys. We stayed up late, watching sex till nearly daylight, porn filling our ears and our eyes and our dreams at night, fueling fantasies of scenarios in which girls we would chase, fuck her hard in the arse and squirt come into her face. She wants a hard man who's built like The Rock, so no name Big Tits Blonde will invite her twin and they'll both suck your 10-inch cock. And so now I'm 16 years old, and by some miracle of sexual frustration, I've got myself a girlfriend despite my horrifically misogynistic sex education. Finally, it's time to talk about sex in school, so I rock up to the class and sit my ass down on the stool. Good morning, Year 11s. Well, this is embarrassing for us all. Here are some condoms and some plastic dildos. The instructions are on the wall. Just pinch and roll. That's how it's done. I was young once. I know sex can be fun. Oh, that's the bell. I suppose we're done. It's only now that I really realize how disgraceful that was. The first time we fucked, my incompetence shocked her. Imagine that, a child of the internet generation with as much understanding of female pleasure as an 18th century doctor. And guess what? She didn't want to be fucked in the ass, or to be slapped, or to be called a bitch, or any of what I had learned in my internet class. And I'll tell you the most fucked up thing. I'm 21 now, and I'm having to relearn everything. Porn makes dangerous weapons out of young male minds. It takes your insecurities and makes them hyper-realized. It makes you want to get ripped and fuck bald white vaginas. The social pressure controls you like a mental communist China. And since my adult self can't travel back in time to that 11-year-old kid to inject some sense into that mind, there is no solution to me but educational revolution. Teach sex in schools the proper way, and I'm talking about orals and porn and whips and anals and three-ways. It doesn't matter what it is, because at the end of the day, all forms of consensual sexual expression are okay. And these teenagers probably know about them anyway, so all you've got to do is teach respect. And if I'd had that as a young man, then maybe I wouldn't have so much sexual history that I regret.